Gemini. No, we're not in Gemini season. We have started, though, the first air season of the year. Aquarius, I was almost going to do this as an Aquarius reading, but I wanted to do Gemini. Then I drew some cards and I got 8 of Swords, 9 of Swords. And it was like, Gemini. I don't know if I have exactly enough energy, I think, to go and ramp up to Gemini, but we'll see. I got up early, Gemini, and I still have things to do tonight, Gemini. And I also wanted to go and put out some readings, but I very much do want to put out early February readings, an early February message for the Gemini collective. Gemini, I see this reading being for anybody who has strong Gemini energy. Do you have a Gemini sun, a Gemini moon? Do you have Gemini rising? Do you have Gemini in your first house? Do you have Gemini signature sign? All the many different variations of Gemini-ness. Well, do you feel it? All those people, Gemini, who don't know what it's like to have that endless curiosity of Gemini in them. Oh, we'll just hold a moment of sadness. Everyone should tap into their Gemini-ness, Gemini. Gemini, if you're a subscriber, thank you so much for being part of Mystic Moons. I appreciate you so much. I do. Gemini, if you feel called to, check out the other videos I've done on your collective. I did do astrological notes yesterday. I released all 12, which I normally don't do because apparently I get shadow banned or something like that if I release more than 6-ish. And then when I do 12, it's like, bam, they all die. But I felt like doing all 12 anyway because I'm kind of a detailist, Gemini. Like if I do something and if there's 12 sets of something, I want to do all 12 right away. Why do I have to space it out over days? I don't get it. The algorithm with YouTube needs to adjust that, but whatever. So anyway, if you feel called to, only if you feel called to, Gemini. I believe I entitled your astrological note for yesterday. I called it Lighthouse. I think so. I do so many readings, I sometimes forget. But anyway, only if you feel called to, Gemini. I did a couple other videos as well, which apply, Gemini, if you haven't checked it out. I will do other readings for your collective as well. I will do a mid-February, and I probably will do a February love. I could almost add on the February love onto here, but then they'll probably be 40 minutes to an hour. I don't know if I want to spend quite 40 minutes or an hour tonight. Probably not. So the love will be something else. After I do all 8 other zodiac signs for early February. Gemini, is there anything more I want to say other than it's a collective reading, but you know that, I know. So take it as it resonates, if it resonates. I think that's all I want to say, Gemini, other than, oh, if you find the video interesting, consider giving me a thumbs up if you want to. You could give me a thumbs down too. I actually don't see them on when I do it through the phone. I don't see the thumbs down. It's funny. They must have thought, YouTube creators, must have thought the engineers or the product managers or whomever was probably there like, oh, we need to go and keep the incentive of people putting out videos. So let's only show the thumbs up and not the thumbs down. Well, I never really bothered looking at the stats in the first place, but I think it's funny how they did that. So you can leave a thumbs up if you want me to see it. Otherwise, it'll just be blank. Yeah, I think that's it, Gemini. Hello, Jessica Stardust. And hello, Maria. Jessica, right now I'm going to do the Gemini reading. If you'd like a reading, I'll be opening up a live a little later tonight. It'll just be Mystic Moons Live and a chit chat. And if you're still wanting to get a reading from me, come by then. But this reading, this particular live, I'm I'm just going to do Gemini and energy for the general Gemini collective. But if you want a personal reading, come by, check out the channel a little later tonight. That's when I'll open up for chit chat. I'll do live readings. I'll pull some things on whatever. But this one is going to be for Gemini, the Gemini collective. Now, I don't know if it's going to be for Gemini love, a general life reading. I don't know if it's going to be about career. We're going to find out. I leave it very open. So Gemini, and of course, hello again, Maria. Let me just let that sound out, Gemini. And then we'll jump into your reading. Okay. Gemini, I'm excited for your reading. Let's see. I have the world clarified by Ace of Cups. You have a new beginning, Gemini, a new beginning that you've been anticipating, Gemini. Could it come a moment too soon, Gemini? You know, with these pages as well, I'm going to say, Gemini, well, we have the world and we have Ace of Cups. But there's something about this offer, Gemini, that's a little green. Something about it is a little green, a little unripe, a little tart, or a little salty. Something about it is not entirely, or maybe it needed time, Gemini, to become tasty. Because we still have the Ace of Cups. But there is something about it in the fact that it took a lot of time for this to finally come up for you, Gemini. And maybe it still is a little tart, a little starchy, a little untasty, a little salty, or maybe now it's just perfect. Let's find out. The world, Gemini, is clarified by the Hermit, Ace of Wands, and Death. You're finally going to be able, well, you're on a new phase, Gemini, or just about to start a new phase. World clarified by Death, Hermit, and Ace of Wands. Couldn't happen a moment too soon, could it, Gemini? Although we have the Hermit here, it still feels like it took a lot of lag time for this world to finally come up over the horizon for you. This is rising, not quite here, just about here. A new start is coming for you, Gemini. And it looks like, Gemini, the slow, hesitant, I'm not going to say quite unclear, because I don't get, I get clarity here, you know perfectly well what you've been wanting for, but for it to come through and actively get something in your hands, tangible, that you could sink your teeth into, Gemini, that's what took a little bit of time, and that's what's coming your way. I'm not going to call it signs because right now this feels like more an opportunity, a general opportunity, a general shift in your life. And because of that, Gemini, I'm going to tackle the Hermit first. What is this Hermit for Gemini? Hermit, a suitable offer. Gemini, there have been people around you. There have been opportunities around you. If you wanted to make it work, if you wanted to make it fit, you could have made it fit, Gemini. This feels like energy just not of the now, but also energy from last year. It feels like long-term energy, at least 6 months or longer. This feels like drawn out situational energy where the people around you just were not adequate. They didn't match your vision, your capacity, your capability, your speed, Gemini. They also didn't match your effort. But of course, if you're familiar with my Gemini readings, I always get tons of effort from you guys. I'd say that's one of the things that Gemini always has to watch out for, is that you don't overextend yourself and pull all the work while other people go, Gemini has it. Gemini is doing pretty good with all that work. Why should I do anything? Gemini, you've had offers coming up and you could have made them work. They just weren't worth it, Gemini. And in this energy, Hermit clarified by Page of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, and Magician, there's a little bit of hopping here. A little bit of hopping, definitely not settling, working with what you have to as you have to work for it, but not settling, not staying. It's not even about being satisfied, Gemini. It's about what's adequate and inadequate for your level, for your aspirations, and also too, well, for the compensation, right? For the reasoning of why. And for that simple reason, Gemini, or reasons, plural, you've been moving here and there, not really, maybe a few rest stops, but ultimately still moving to find your place. Well, Gemini, Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands gets a Two of Pentacles. There's that Page of Swords again. And Justice. Something is finally coming through. You could have spoken to this person or introduced yourself to some aspect that's coming through. This is a little green energy here, Gemini. Still is green. Page of Swords with Two of Pentacles, Ace of Wands. Also, too, like settling in exactly what could be the roles. Gemini, if this is work, they're not quite sure what they want as well, other than they want success. And also, too, let me say that while this is green energy, this is also not rigid energy, despite the fact that we have Justice here. It's like in this energy, Gemini, there's an offer that's coming. It is green. In other words, I would say that this person or this situation, they don't quite know even what they want. They know kind of the gist of it, but the specifics, they haven't worked that out. And just like they haven't worked out the specifics, Gemini, or how they're going to get it, they also haven't really worked out their role and your role. There's a lot of fluidity here, a lot of flexibility, a lot of creation room, and the ability to create your own rules. That's one of the benefits, I would say, with dealing with green situations, is that literally that gives you a springboard, a platform to create your own rules. That's essentially what is coming your way. Something that really isn't quite that defined or formed, but you can grow it, Gemini, and also too, you can carve out your own role, your own rules, or at least co-write the rules. The one Gemini who has a direction, the one Gemini who has a plan in this opportunity that's coming your way, or let's say the one who is most persuasive with their goal, with their wants. Something about that, Gemini, even with Three of Wands energy here, it's like everyone else will follow that lead. You know, by the power of your ideas, by the skill of your delivery and by the roadmap of how you'll get there. Gemini, by working out those three things, that's really how you'll gain power, influence, clout in your next opportunity. Really being a visionary and having that plan, and more than just having the visionary and the plan, but at least some steps to start building it out and getting people on board. The one with the most powerful ideas, Gemini, in this phase that you're moving towards, in general, the one with the most defined ideas and plans, and the ones who can pitch that idea and plans to others, is the one who's going to hold the most power. And you definitely can go and, well, there's success here. Success purely by the innovation of your ideas. That's what's exciting. And someone or a group of someone's is going to seriously consider your plan, or they have seriously considered your plan. And as I said, whoever can make the most convincing presentation, then we have this one popping up again. They really wanted to come out, didn't those 2 pages? Page of Cups, Knight of Swords, and a 6 of Cups. Gemini, I'm not getting so much a love reading. I'm getting work for you. I am getting a partnership here, but that could just be the fact that as you're reaching this new phase, as you're doing new work, well, other new things are going to come into your life, or other pieces of the puzzle that you need to form your life is going to start falling into place. Essentially, Gemini, there's something in your current situation that is so over and also hasn't really served you. I wouldn't be surprised too in this energy, Gemini, that even your social circle, there's been sort of a progression and then halt, progression and halt with even the people around you. Because how could there be consistency? And again, they're not, their ideas, their plans, their general attitude is just at a specific quality level, engagement level, dedication level, things like that. And death clarified by Page of Cups, Knight of Swords. 6 of Cups, more than a past person coming back. I'm seeing this as a past situation. The seeds were sown before, Gemini. Seeds were sown before, and finally they're starting to sprout. Finally, as I said too, with that Page of Cups energy here, and then again that Page of Swords that came up, feels like initially at some point, Gemini, whether this is a job or whether this is a person or a group of people, that situation, Gemini, wasn't yet prepared to act on you, to act on the ideas that they would have to start putting into motion, being with you. And now, Gemini, it's ready, or they're ready. Something that was set in the past is finally ready to get going now, is finally at a level where still a little green, but it's ready to sprout. You have an interesting new phase just beginning to break new ground for you, Gemini. And again, the key to success with this particular phase is not to be held back by your own, or not to rein in, excuse me. Don't rein in your own innovative ideas. Celebrate and push your innovation. Strive to lead the innovators, Gemini. That's my message to you. Gemini, do check out the other videos on Mystic Moons if you feel called to. There are videos on, of course, astrology, general paranormal things. My vote for this week would be the 2 videos on Trump, regardless if you're political or not. I would recommend Why Did Trump Not Put His Hand on the Bible? And I would also recommend Rethinking MAGA. Did you know, Gemini? I mean, I didn't even think two seconds about it. But it completely slipped my mind, Gemini, that MAGA in so many languages means magician. Can you imagine using magician as a word for your brand? Advertising to a conservative base? It's wild. It also means MAGA. It means sorcerer. Can you imagine? I would never necessarily recommend using words with that connotation with a base that they campaign towards. I remember having a conversation once, Gemini, with a company that did eco-friendly things, and they wanted to call themselves Acorn. And of course, with Acorn, there's an eco-terrorist group that went by the name of Acorn. I believe they were active around the 60s or the 70s, but they were quite notorious. And I guess sort of the whole green, there's always movements of all sorts, right? Sometimes some people see Greenpeace as that, but Greenpeace also has a quite an amazing communications machine behind them. But yes, anyway, with Acorn, there's just problematic words and phrases that come up with certain sorts of words and phrases. And theoretically, your marketing and communications team flags any sort of considerations you need to know. And how come no one flagged? Using the acronym of MAGA, whatever you want to say. And no one had a problem with the fact that no one pointed out the fact that MAGA also means sorcerer and magician. I know that's wild to me. Anyway, I'm going to sign off here. And yes, Jessica, if you're interested in a reading, if you're still around, do check me out later today. I'm not into doing readings just yet, but on my live, which I will have a live out tonight, it'd be live and chit chat or something like that. Come and find me there, and I'll be happy to look into your question. Until the next reading, bye-bye.